again, happy as can be. That was my daughter. Well, this particular puzzle is a difficult one. It's only got 22 numbers in it. And I want to tell you something. Before I start the puzzle, some of you have been asking about where can you buy a book that's got good puzzles on one page, like one page has one puzzle. Well, if you go onto my channel page and have go to what it says community tab, hit the community tab, and I've got all kinds of some information there, as well as information about a book that I would recommend. Okay, with that in mind, we're going to start on the puzzle, but let's first of all tell you, I have to be honest, I've tried this puzzle a couple of times, and each time, guess what? I've taken a different route, because so much depends on what you see and when, what you know, and what you remember to do when it comes to ramifications. Let's see how this one goes, okay? Each time I've done it, I've gone a different route, different path. Okay, we're going to start off with because there's maybe some of you beginners here, I'll start off with cross here using TMB here and here. Then we'll do LCR down this way, left, right, and center. And then I'll do cross meet technique and see what happens once we've gone that far. Here we go. TMB across here. Is there a number which has been repeated in 2 out of the 3 blocks? I don't see any. Let's go to this one. Is there a number in these 3 blocks that has been repeated in 2 out of the 3 blocks? I don't see any. What about this one? 2, 3. There's a 5 repeated. Whoopee, we finally got one. Bottom, middle, top. It has to be up in here. There's a 5 up in here, so we put a little 5 in here because you can go in 2 cells. That's good. Well, fantastic. We've made some progress. Let's do LCR now. Down here, is there any number that's been repeated twice in out of 3 blocks? No. What about coming down these vertical blocks? The 7s are all there, so we don't have to worry about the 7s. There's 2 9s. There's a left and a right. We have to have that in the center here, and because of that 9, we can put a little 9 right in here. Okay, let me see if I've done that all right. Okay, center over here. Are there any numbers over here that have been repeated in 2 out of 3 blocks? 2, 2, 2, 2. None again. We're not making very good progress, are we? Okay, now we'll do cross meet technique, which is one of the most popular lessons. It's lesson 7, I believe. If I take the 1s and come down here, there's a 1 over here, come across here, there's 1, 2, 3 empty cells, leave it. What about going over here, across there, and come up here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 empty cells, leave it. 2s, come across here, there's a 2 down here, there's no 2 in here, let's see what happens. We're coming up there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Too many cells. Leave it. Let's try another 2. There's a 2 here somewhere. 2 up there, and 2 for this block. There's no 2. 2 there. 2 up there. 2 spots it can go. We can do a little 2 in there. Get it? Okay. Now because of that, we have a top, a middle. They can be 2 2s in here because there's 2 spaces. Got it? Now, we got there, where are we up to? 2s, 3s. No, there's a 2 over here. Let me see. 2 across here, 2 down here, 1, 2, 3, and 2 up there. No, too many. Here we go. 3s. We go down here and across here because there's no 3 in here. It can be 1, 2, 3. Too many. Let's try across here. 3 across there, 3 up here. 1, 2, 3, too many. Go to 4s. Take this 4 and this 4. There's no 4 in this block, so we'll go across here, can't have a 4 there. We go up here, can't have a 4 there. So we can only have 2 places for a 4 and we can put them in. One would be there and one would be here. Great. Any other 4s that we can use? 4, too many. 4, whoa! This is going to be a 4, and that's going to be a 4. For those of you who didn't see that, this 4 means no 4 there. This 4 means no 4 there. That has a 4, and it's a matching pair, and I love matching pairs. Now we can probably do something with that. If this is a 4 up in here, atop, this is the middle in this block, using TMB, there has to be a 4 there or there. But you can't have a 4 there. Why? Because there's a 4 up there. So this becomes a 4, and we have finally got a number. Way. That's exciting. Now what's the ramifications of this? Well, let's look at this. 4, we could have a 4 on the right. There's a 4 there, so we can put a little 4 there and a little 4 there. Well, that may help us down the road. Any other 4s that I could use? Let's try this one. 4 up in here, 4 across there. 1, 2, 3. Too many. 5s. Here we have a 5, and here we have a 5. Let's try this 5 here. 5 across there. There's no 5 in here. 5 across there in this block. 5 up here means we can have a 5 here and a 5 there. If there's a 5 there and there, we can have a 5 here and here. So you have center, right, and left using LCR. Well, we're getting some fundamental, some groundwork done here, but if we don't have many numbers yet, well, it'll come. Hang in there. Let me see now. 5. We did up to 6. There's only 1 6. Forget it. Can't cross with anything with only 1 6. 7s. They are all there. Can't cross with them because they're all in line with the vertical blocks. 8s. There are 2 8s. There's an 8 here and an 8 here. So let's cross them in this block because let's see what happens. Let's go across there, none in there. Go up here, none in there. We can have an 8 here or an 8 there. Now what's the ramification of that? Here we have a center. Here we have a left. An 8 could go there, there, and there. Now, if you were a beginner, I would say, in the earlier lessons, I would say, put the 8 here and here and here. But if you're an experienced player, keep it in your head, remember it. There's going to be an 8 there as you go on in the puzzle. Let's see if there is an 8 there. We'll see. And there's got to be, based on LCR. Now, 8. Oh, here's another 8. We have an 8 here and 8 here. Let's go across this way, but this block doesn't have an 8. Go across here, and then down here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we have 2 8s here. 1 there and 1 there. What's the ramification of that? There's going to be an 8 there, nowhere else in this block. So therefore it's right, it's going to be a left, and it has to be up in here, an 8 there or an 8 there. Any ramifications of mine? No, not right now. Okay, let's do the 9s. 9s, we can't, 9s. I can see one thing, but I'm going to go this route now. 9 that way, 9 this way means, well, look at this. Both 8 and 9 can only occur in this section. That's interesting. Now let's take that 9 again. This 9 is in here. It's going to be one of those is going to be a 9. So it's right, center. It can't go there. It has to go there. Now what's the ramification of that? Middle, bottom, has to be up in here. We have a little 9 there and a little 9 there. Whee! We've got 2 numbers. Big event. Okay. Now I'm at the stage where I've done those 3 techniques. Now I'm going to look for a row, column or block that only has 2, 3 or 4 numbers left. And there's nothing I can see with only 3 cells left. I meant 3 cells. There's some here with 4 cells left. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 there, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 there. there's 1, 2, 3, oh, it's 5 there. No, we'll just try one of those two. We'll try this one down in here first. What is missing? We have a 1 missing, 2, 3 missing, 4, 5, 6 missing, 7, 8, and a 9 missing. So it's 1. Now you could write them out here if you're a beginner, but if you keep them in your head, you can say to yourself 1, 3, 6, and 9. Now, when I look at this block here, oh, this is neat. When I look at this block, there's already a 1 and a 3, so you can't have a 1 and a 3 down in here. So that means it has to be a 6 or a 9. Now, before writing in 6, 9, 6, 9, look around. Here's 9, so that has to be a 6. And this now becomes a 9. And if that becomes a 9, we can get rid of this 9. And let's look and see the ramifications of those. We have a 9. Oh, we have 2 9s. We have a 9 here and a 9 here, so this becomes a 9. Now, oh, look at this. Because of that 9, we can get rid of that 9. So this becomes the real 9. Okay, make it, and there's no longer a 4. And because that's a real 9, now because 4, remember this? 4 could only go there and there, so this has to become a 4. We'll make it a 4. And because, whoops, oh, just a sec. My rubber outer had a bit of moisture on it. Oh dear. Okay, that should be a 4. You're probably seeing what's going to come now. 4. And that's going to be a 2 now, because a 2 could go there or there, but 1's gone now, so we have to do a 2. Oh dear, I'm sorry. That's not very good. Let's get that better. So that's going to be a 2. While I'm doing this, look around and see what the ramifications of that is. Okay? That's a 2 there. Now we've got 3 new numbers, and I'm going to look at the ramifications of them. This 9, we'll take the 9. We got that one first. We have a left, we have a right. There has to be a 9 in here and a 9 there. So let's put them in. There we have, well, this is interesting. Remember a couple of tutorials ago I talked about a cleaver? Well, here's a cleaver. There's a 9, 9, 9, 9. That's the blade of the cleaver. In these 2 blocks, the only places the 9 can go is there and there and there and there. Therefore, this is the handle of the cleaver, and we have a 9 in there. So it shows how it works. Okay, so let's have a look now. We've got a 4. Oh boy, look at this. That's a better 4, isn't it? And that's a better 2. It's dried. Oh, that's messy. Let's get that better. Whoops, we're going to use this system. That's going to be a 4. You've probably seen all kinds of things happening now. If that's a 4, this 4 means that this has to be a 4, and we've solved the 4 and the 5. Oh, now let's see if that makes a mess. So that means that this becomes a 4, and this becomes a 5. If that becomes a 5, we now have 2 5s, a center, a right. This becomes the 5. Way to go. Look at that. Okay. Now we know for sure there's going to be an 8 in here. It's either going to be there or there. Fine. Now we did this direction. Now let's go this direction. What about the 4? Yes, the 4 can go here. And that means we've got a 4 down here and a 4 up there. 4 has to be there or there. Before I write anything in, there's a 4 there. So this will have to be the 4. And this will have to go. And this becomes a real big 4. Excuse my finger. Boy, that was neat. Now, let's look at the 7 down here. See this 7? Well, this was a 1, 3, wasn't it? Sorry, I forgot to put that one in. And this one has to be a 1, 3. Do you know why? Because there's a 1, 3 up in here. You cannot put it in there. That's interesting. Now, where are we with a 7? If a 7 is here, a 7 has to go in here. If a 7 goes in there, middle, bottom, top. So this becomes a 7, and this becomes an 8. 7, 8. Okay. If that's an 8, oh, look at this. If that's an 8, this becomes a 2 because it's the only one left. And if that's a 2, we have 2 2's here. This becomes a 2 and a 2 there. We're really making some progress. 2. Now this 2 going up this way, let me see now. There's a 2 here and a 2 there. Center, left, has to be a 2 in here. There's a 2 there, so we can put 2 little 2's there. Okay. Now, let's look at that 7 again. This 7. The 7, and this is, you will now know why I'm going to call this can't go there. Can't go there, there, or there. It can't go there or there. It can't go there. The only place it can go is, can't go there either. It is there. Okay? So that's where the 7 goes. Now we could have worked that out by doing the cross meet system. Cross here with the 7, cross up there with the 7. That's the only place the 7 could go. Well, that means that this becomes an 8. Now, let's look at the ramifications of that. We've got the 8's down, going across this way. All we need, and we could have an 8 in there, and we'll have to... Now, what about the 7? 7, 7, this becomes... Oh, look at this. This becomes a 7, and this becomes an 8. Now, there's only one left in here. Woo! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 6. Well, we got that whole block done now. If that's a 6, and that's a 6, this here becomes a 6. And this, therefore, because 5 can only go in 2 spots, so another advantage of that, this becomes a 5. Well, what progress have we ever made? Let me see now. I'm trying to dry off this. It's got moisture on it. This has got 2 left in it, and that would be a 1, 2. Could be a 1. No, it can't be a 1, 2, 3. Has to be a 3. Here's a 3. Has to be a 3. Can't be there because there's no room for a 3 up there. So a 3 there, and the 8. 8 has to be there. Okay. Now, let's continue on. I think this is going to be a 1. Let's see what happens here. We now have 2 spots here. Oh, by the way, I just noticed something. I'll come back to that. We have a 7 here. We have a 7 here. This has to be a 7. And what's the ramification of that? I'll come back to that in a minute. This has to be in a 7. It cannot go there. It has to be here, in this spot, and this now becomes an 8. And I'm just looking at this while it was right in front of me. I forgot to use the 2. Here's a 2, here's a 2. This becomes a matching pair. Whoopee! Because why do I know that's a matching pair? Another way of doing it is that there's a 2 and a 9 in here. There's a 2 and a 9 down in here. And there's a 2 and a 9 along here. So it has to be a matching pair. Wait, that'll be very helpful. Okay, get back to these 2 spots here. Oh, sorry. I've seen something else. It's so easy to miss something. Look at this here. This column has only got 1 left. And the 1 that's left is a 1. So we'll make that into a 1. There's a 4, 7, 4, 7. Yeah. Now we've got 2 left over in here again. Now it is a 3 and a 5. Well, this 5 meant that had to be a 5. I missed that one. So therefore this is a 3. Now I want to show you something here. There's a 3, 5 on the left. There's a 3, 5 on the right. If you go to my lesson number 19, I think, I'll list all these techniques that I use underneath the video for you. This has to be a 3, 5 in there. You could work that out 2 ways too, by counting up. So if this is the 3, 5, the 3 has to go there because of that 5. So we put the 3 there and we put the 5 there. So what's the ramification of that? Well, here's the 5 and there's a 5. We've got a 5 that can go in here. Okay, we'll put a 5 in there. Neat. That's neat. Now, look, we've got 2 left over here. Let me look at this one. There's 3 in here. It's easy to work out the 3 because these are all full. That's another lesson that I cover. I think it's 11, I think. I'm not sure. No, it's not 11. Somewhere around there. We'll list it below. Here we have a 2, 6, and 8 in there. Now I could write them all in, but before I write them all in, let's look around. Oh, here's a 6 and here's a 2, so that has to be the 8, which means that this is a 2, 6 and a 2, 6. Now, what's the ramification of all that? Look at this. Here we have 2 cells left. If that's a 1 and 3, the rule says if that's a 1 and 3, and there's only 2 cells, it has to be a matching pair. So that becomes a 1 and 3, but I'm not going to write it in because there's a 3 there. That makes that a 1. And this therefore, watch this, this therefore becomes, let me see if this works now. Yep, this therefore becomes a 3. This becomes a 1. A 1. And this 3 makes this a 1. Wow. It makes that a 1. Okay. 1, 1. That has to be a 1. Oh, I should have put that in when I put that one in, because look, 1, 1, 1. That has to be a 1. Right, left, center. And this has to be a 2. We're really moving along here. It's amazing. Okay, now, let's look at let's look at this block here. See that 3? 3 can't be in there. It has to be here or here. Now, this is important. This is the rule of exclusion I'm going to show you. If you're not sure about it, go to tutorial number 2. The rule of exclusion says that if this is the only place in this column and this block, the only place a 3 can go, you can get rid of that 3. Which is so handy, because watch what happens. We get 2 numbers straight away. Get rid of that, it becomes an 8. Whoops. Try the other way. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get it cleaned up. Okay, I'll never do this again where I wash this ahead of time. Okay, well, that was going to be an 8, right? Therefore, this becomes a 3, right? That becomes a 3. Now, what's the ramification of all that? Well, we know this fits, doesn't it? We have a 3 here. One of these is going to be a 3. This 8 means we have an 8 left, 8 in the center. This has to be an 8. Great. Great discovery, seeing that little rule, the exclusion rule. Now, where are we at here? With this, we're getting there. We're really getting there. There's, let me see now. There's a 6 supposed to go. Oh, that 2. 6. See that 2? Forgot that one. This becomes a 6. This becomes a 6. I'm giving you plenty of time to study this, see ahead. You're probably saying to me right now, hey, Robin, hey, man, you missed that. You missed that. It's easy to miss. You know what? I'm taking a different route than I have done before when I did the puzzle. It makes it fun. That's a 6 because of 2 there. So that means that this becomes a 2. What's the ramification of that 2? Well, here we have a top. bottom, that's right. Here, this way, we're 2. Yeah, it all fits. We could just self-check. Okay, now, what about down in here? We have 3 numbers missing. If that's a 3 and that's a 3 has to be in here. If that's a 3, so we could have a 3 here or a 3 there. Okay, what else? Else is missing? Oh, here's something I missed. You've probably been yelling at me for the last 10 minutes. Right, left, this has to be a 7. So now we've got a possible 3. Oh, this has to come a 3 because, well, anyway, we'll see. Here's something I want to show you because I was only teaching this to a class last week, a couple of days ago, in fact. It's called a matching pair plus 1 empty cell. Here we have a matching pair. And in this column, there's only 1 empty cell. And you can work out what that is very easily. There's 2 ways of doing it. I'm going to show you one way. Just so that you know. 1, 2's counted for. 3 is missing. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is counted for. So that the only place a 3 can go is there. Now, because of this 3 and that 3, this becomes a 3. Now, I could have done it in another way, but just to show you what a matching pair plus 1 empty cell can mean. Now, let's see where we're going here. We have only got 2 left in here. The 3. Look at the 3. Forgot that. This becomes a 3. Top, middle, bottom. That becomes a 3. So that 3 can go. And you're left with a matching pair, a 6, 9. Before I write it in, I look around and there's a 9 there. So that has to be the 6. And this becomes the 9. Now, where do we go on this one? Oh, look at the results of that. This 9 means that this becomes a 2, because you get rid of that 9. That becomes a 2. And there's only 1 left along here, so that becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Didn't do that when I did it before. Okay, this 2 means that this becomes a 9. Therefore, we have a middle, top, bottom. That works. Now we got this. We're on the way to the end here. This is a 1. That's the only 1 left. Got that pun. Okay, and you check it. Left, right, center. Yeah. Now we've got 2 left in here. We've got a 6. Well, what is left in this one? There's only 1 left. You'd probably be yelling at me all this time. That's a 6, because it's the only 1 left along that row, which means that this can't be a 6. So the 6, 6, 6. This comes a 6. Now, because we got rid of that 6, this becomes a. Remember we had 2, 2 there. That becomes a 2. And because there's only 1 left in here, it has to be a 1. Bottom, top, middle. That becomes a 1. And by George, my Betty Martin's bloomers, we've got it. Thanks for watching this. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll see you next month. Bye for now.